Welcome, friends. Welcome to episode 1 of a brand new series called Sisternomics Live. And this is where my guests and I give you the steps for building your wealth and creating your own thriving economy. If we haven't met before, my name is Monique Caradine Kitchens. And I personally believe that every woman should have her very own personal Sisternomics strategy. But as I thought about it, I don't think I've ever taken the time to really explain exactly how to put that strategy together. So with this series, that all changes. I'll be doing a couple of episodes over the next few weeks to put the strategy to help you put your strategy in place and to break down these seemingly big topics around wealth building. I want to break those topics down for you into bite-sized pieces so that you can understand it easily and, most importantly, take action. Okay, so today we're going to take an unsexy topic and we're going to try our best to make it a little bit more sexy. And the topic today is life insurance. And just to summarize the importance of this topic, if you are one of the 106 million adults that does not have life insurance, or if you are underinsured, you are putting your family at great risk. You put them at risk for having to take on any of your final expenses, but you also put their current lifestyle and their potential future lifestyle at risk. And we definitely don't want to do that. So I'm so excited today because this amazing woman is going to help us break down the importance of life insurance as well as how to choose the best life insurance policy for you and your family and your needs. Her name is Shirley Ann Robertson, and she is with the Prudential Insurance Company of America. She's been there since 1992, so you know that means she's a pro. And she came into this business under her now retired mother, so big props to mom for paving the way. Together, she and her mom built the highly successful firm of Robertson and Robertson Financial Services, providing quality insurance and financial consultation services. And Shirley Ann has developed her practice by working with women, families, ministries, small to mid-sized business clients throughout the U.S., helping them create financial strategies to meet their unique needs and their unique challenges. Hello, Shirley Ann Robertson. What a pleasure to have you here on Sisternomics Live.
Hey, lady. It's a pleasure to be with you, Miss Monique. And kudos to you for creating this fantastic platform for your sheroes to get the wealth knowledge, the financial knowledge, the confidence that they need to make their finances very sexy, right?
We got to make it sexy, right? Because, hey, people like sexy. And so that's just what we got to do. And life
Yes.
insurance is so important. And again, you know how I feel about Sisternomics. It's all
Mhm.
these pieces that we put in place to not only create wealth, but just a well-rounded life. And so that we can leave a legacy of wealth for our
Mhm.
families for generations to come. So with that said, let's start the way I always like to start. And that is by having
Mhm.
you tell us a little bit about your money story before we jump into insurance.
Wow.
How did you experience money growing up?
Wow. So I'm gonna, go back to when I was 11 years old, Monique, and my first requirement was to have a job. And so 11 years old, and so it was a paper route. Paper routes are what we young kids did back then. So my dad would wake me up every morning at 4:30. So that was my first talking about waking up early. And then I would wrap the papers and would go around to each house and drop them off. And then on Sunday at 4 o'clock, I would go up to each house and I would say, "Hi, I'm Shirley Ann. I'm here to collect your costs, your newspaper costs for the week. It's $13.80." And most times folks would give me $14 or $15. But Monique, that was my way of saving money. And so I would come home, make sure I put aside my 20 cents or my $1.20, depending on how much I got extra. And so then I realized that if I want to buy something, I've got to add up all my money so that I can make sure I get the stuff or the item or the gift that I wanted. So that money experience at 11 years old let me understand the importance of early rising, and
Mm.
also too made me respect money because I was getting up early in the morning to go make it. I got to respect it. So whatever I bought with my savings, it was something that I really wanted and I really cherished it.
That is awesome. So you learned entrepreneurship early, and here you are, nationally known for the work that you do. What a great lesson. And I'm so excited that your mother brought you into this business. And I
Yeah.
really think it's an interesting story of how you got specifically into this business. And I'll have you share that in a second. But let's just go ahead and dive in. Again, Sisternomics is about having all the pieces in place. It's kind of like a puzzle, so
Mhm.
that we can not only enjoy wealth while we're alive, but so that our descendants can enjoy it once we're gone. Can you talk about how important or why it's so important for life insurance to be a part of that puzzle?
I love that when you speak about legacy, but what I will also add to that is what the pandemic exposed to so many of us was just how financially fragile we were. And it let us realize that with just this one experience, the pandemic sort of let us, realize that we were not having solid financial foundations. Life insurance was not in place. Health insurance was not in place. The right financial documents was not in place. Power of attorney. All these things really expose how financially vulnerable we were. So in today's world, or so as we turn the page and we move a little further away from the pandemic, the passion that I have in what I do is really making an impact in my clients' lives and realizing that, okay, we all realize that we were not really financially set as we wanted to. But now is the time to have these really confidential and important conversations around finances to make sure that finances are set. It's never going to be set and forget it, but we always want to make sure that we've got a really solid foundation so that if something does happen, plan for the worst, hope for the best, then our families will not be exposed or surprised as many of us realize how exposed they were based on the pandemic experiences.
Yeah. And you have your own personal story of
Oh,
being exposed. I mean, there
yeah.
was a serious accident that took place that, could have, taken you
Wiped
out,
me
to be
out.
honest with
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're being
Hmm.
honest, talk a little bit about that story and how insurance in your own personal situation helped to sustain
Sure.
you and your family.
Oh, that is my story and my testimony, Monique, that I share. So when I started with Prudential some 30 years ago, my mother sat me down and she said, Shirley Ann, before you can sell it to anybody, you must first own it. So she made sure that at that time I bought my first life insurance policy. And so my sister and brother were my beneficiaries, and they looked kind of thirsty. They was like, ooh, all this money that we could get if Shirley's not here. Luckily, I was able to convince them not to off me. But then from that experience, buying life insurance, then my mother made sure that I had a savings account. I was putting money aside, 6 to 8 months worth of reserves. Then my mother made sure that I had the best medical plan that was being offered from the company. My mother made sure I bought disability insurance because disability insurance, many folks don't realize, covers you for loss of wages. My mother made sure that I had a disability, a long term care plan, 401k. So, yes, I was putting money aside into my 401k. So, fast forward, we're coming back from a Prudential meeting, and out of nowhere, a car hits us. But through the grace of God, at that right time, at that right moment, Monique, an ambulance was going by and saw the entire thing unfold, quickly packaged me up and rushed me over to one of the best trauma hospitals here in Illinois. But the truth of it is, after that year and a half of me realizing that I had to learn how to walk and talk again, that's when I realized that's how those financial products that my mother made me buy. I didn't have a
Mhm.
choice, Monique. My mother made me buy. The disability insurance provided me a paycheck because I wasn't going to work, So here is a disability check giving me money each month. But your disability insurance is only going to be 60 to 80% of your income. Well, that savings account that my mother made me contribute to, that provided me the additional dollars I needed. And then my long-term care insurance policy allowed a nurse to come into my home, my comfortable environment, for me to really be able to recover in that year and a half. And then the icing on the cake, my cash value policy, my life insurance, Monique, which is what we're talking about now, that life insurance policy, cash value, also had dollars that I could access. So I will tell everyone anytime I get a chance to share my testimony that if it weren't for my mother's insistence of making sure that my finances were in a solid place when I started with Prudential, fast forward, I would have been financially devastated. So every time I have the privilege and the honor of sharing with somebody, I always tell my story so that they realize I'm speaking from a space of knowing. I have my testimony. And so know that I share with you based on the fact that it's not if something's going to happen, it's when, and when it does, will your family be taken care of.
And how old were you again when that happened?
Oh my goodness. I was 25. I was 25, March 8th of 1995. I was 25 years old, Monique. I'm only, 29 now, but we won't talk about the math.
I got you. Don't worry. So
25.
you were 25 years old, and that's an
Yeah.
age in life where we feel invincible, right? We don't think anything can happen to us, right? And something happened to you that, thank God, you were prepared for, thanks to the
Yes.
wisdom of your mother and your willingness to
Mhm.
take action.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the women that are in my tribe, they're 35 and older. And
Yes.
so if you needed it at 25, then we definitely need it
Yes.
when we get into our mid 30s, 40s, and now 50s.
Mhm.
And again, I'm just glad that you had a wise mom to
Yes.
just
Well,
make
listen,
sure.
Monique. Our mothers. Mothers. Did I have a wise mother? Did my mother tell me this is what you're going to do? I think that's what it was. I'm not making it sound pretty, but my mother told me what I was going to do. But that's why I say to you that, when I get a chance to talk with my clients and I'm really sharing with them, I always first create this nice, comfortable space. I need for my clients to know that there's zero judgment in terms of when we talk about money, because my experience is going to be different. My mother was just as much empowering about finances. So my experience is different, but I never want anybody who's talking to me feel as if I'm judging. I need you to always know that this is a very confidential conversation. And it's also a safe space that I don't want you to feel that ShirleyAnn is judging you.
Right. Yeah, I can attest to that because,
Mm.
for full disclosure, Shirley Ann is my insurance agent, and she just helped me get a new policy in place. And we worked and worked over a period of time, right? Until we were able to find that policy that was right for me and
Yes.
for the vision that I have for my family. If by, God forbid, something should happen to me, I personally want to make sure that everything is taken care of for my husband, my son, my parents, extended family, you can't save everybody, but it's important to me to leave a legacy of wealth that my family can take care of some things if I'm not here. That's just my personal vision. So that's, I think, a great segue into the next question, which is, how do you choose? What are some criteria that you should consider if you know you're underinsured or you let the insurance policy lapse? What should you be thinking about or considering as you get ready to choose whole term or whatever the other options are?
Well, the first thing I always do is sort of create that reality check with my clients, because I tell them, the important thing is that if something were to happen, we want to make sure that life insurance is in place. So what is the consistent dollar amount that you can put aside month after month after month to make sure that if something does happen, your family will be taken care of? So we go through sort of that financial checklist. Money's coming in, money's going out, expenses, debt. What do you want to have happen? Do you want to have money so that the kids can go to school, college, tuition? Do you want to have the mortgage paid off? Do you want the car loan paid off? What is it that you want to have happen? Once we are clear on that vision that you want for your family, Then we look at what is that dollar amount. And then we might land on term insurance, because term insurance will give you a lot of coverage for a small monthly premium. And then whole life insurance is that next step. So we always start out to make sure that we have the protection in place. And then we move over to the whole life insurance that's going to build more money, can be used as part of a retirement planning system, or be able to pay off a mortgage sooner than you wanted to. So it's
Mhm.
all these different choices, but it always starts with what's the consistent dollar amount you can put aside month after month after month.
Mhm. Can you have both a term and a whole life plan?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would liken it to be similar to your community, where your community right now are entrepreneurs. We have single moms. So again, in that community, I would say, let's look at a dollar amount that we can make sure we've got a lots of coverage. Then, because you don't have the quote unquote 401k, we'll use the cash value policy, Monique,
Yeah.
that we can build money to use for your retirement. So absolutely we can blend them. But I always come back to what's the consistent dollar amount you will put aside month after month after month. Don't start it, then stop, because nobody wins. But
Mhm.
let's make sure that we're consistent with that dollar amount each month.
That's why you got to have the right agent, because that
Yeah.
agent, like you said, if you're creating that safe space, like you talked
Mhm.
about, you want to make sure your agent is somebody that you can feel like you can be really honest with. Like we had an honest conversation. Okay, where am I? Like what, like, real
Mhm.
talk, because
Mhm. Mhm.
this is real life. And so that is so key, to be able to honestly look at that. And I like the idea of a whole life plan, because that whole
Yeah.
having your own personal bank, honey, that's
Mhm.
real.
That's
and
right.
and and I just want more of us to be aware of that, so that
Mhm.
we can leverage that if we have to. So if you can
But
unpack
that's
that a little bit.
where,
Mhm.
I love how you just said right there. So I love how you said that real conversation and making sure that we can unpack how whole life insurance can help. So I mentioned, just by teasing you a little bit there, that whole life insurance can absolutely be used as part of your retirement plan. Absolutely. That cash value money is money that you can access whenever it's there, and you can use it. You don't have to pay it back. You want to replenish your pocketbook, but you don't have to pay it back. So, as you saying there, Monique, you want to unpack that idea. I liken it to say, let's look at where we are right now. And I keep hitting on that time and time again. But I would rather walk into a household and give a significant life insurance policy than walk into a household and only give 25,000, because your family's only going to use that for your final expenses. So let's have, as you're a financial professional, let's have that one-on-one conversation where you tell me what's really important to you. And
Mhm.
then also, too, I ask you to be accountable to yourself. It's a quid pro quo relationship. It's me reaching out to you. You answer my phone calls, because if I'm in charge of your money, answer your call, and then make sure that we have those, whether it's a monthly touch or quarterly touch, whatever accountability style we land on today. Let's keep building on that, because the important thing is that we get you to that financial destination that you want to achieve, so that if another pandemic were to occur, your family is not going to be left financially devastated.
Mhm. So Shirley Ann Robertson is my guest today on this first episode in a
Woo.
series I'm calling Sisternomics Live. Many of you are familiar with the audio version of my podcast. Trying to do some more videos and stuff. So couldn't think of a better person to have on the first episode, as we really give you the pieces to
Yeah.
your personal Sisternomics strategy. And we both believe that definitely life insurance is just one piece of that. And over this series,
Mhm.
I'll give you some other recommendations. Are there any other myths about insurance, life insurance in particular, Shirley Ann, that you want to debunk, if you will, before we wrap up this conversation?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You just know these right great questions to ask me, Monique, because that one is one that in my 30 years, I to this day try and navigate us through. So the first one that I hear folks saying to me is, Shirley Ann, oh my God, life insurance is so expensive. I don't want it. And I'm like, whoa, didn't we just talk about finding what's comfortable for your budget? So that's one. finding what's comfortable for your budget that you will consistently put aside money every single month. The next one is when something does happen, the insurance company is not going to pay. Wait a minute. Now, I've been with Prudential 30 some years, and I've had the honor and the privilege of delivering many a death claim checks. And so, if you've been honest up front, if you have paid your premiums, if your policy is in force when that day comes, absolutely will pay out the death claim. The other part of it is that qualifying. Well, qualifying, let's be honest, it is based on your age, it is based on your weight, it's based on your health. And so all of those factors do come into play. So if you now tell me, Shirley Ann, I smoke, it's not cigarettes that I smoke other things, then tell me that up front so I can make sure I find the right company to help you. You've got to be really honest with me so I know how to take care of you. But
Right.
we can find solutions. Again, everything is about finding somebody, a financial professional who you can trust and be happy to work with. And we keep building. You be accountable to me and I be accountable to you.
That's great. All right. So you are based in Illinois, but that does not limit your reach. You can work with people everywhere, right?
Exactly. I love that. So we are in the world of virtual. If one thing positive came out of the pandemic is that we can now do so many things virtually. You there in Georgia, I'm here in Illinois. I've got clients in California, clients in New Jersey. It does not matter. I'm happy to help you. We get on a Zoom call, we get on a Teams call, whichever platform you want to work with, and we'll get a chance to connect, talk, build, share, and make sure that it's not if something's going to happen, it's when. And when it does, your finances will be set. That's the
Yes.
joy of working with somebody.
That is a joy. And it's great also to have a great network, because I got to give a shout out to Kamika Smith from the Boss Network. She's the one that
Yes.
recommended you, and I've had an amazing experience working with you. So shout out to
Thank you.
Kamika, the Boss
Yes.
Network. Your
Yes.
network is your net worth.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And also, folks, as we wrap up here, like, nobody wants to have to sell chicken dinners or have fish
mm-hmm.
fries
Or
or,
GoFundMe's.
or have GoFundMe campaigns to take care of your final expenses.
Mm-hmm,
No judgment, no heat. But
mm-mm,
what I'm simply saying is, just by having a conversation with someone like Shirley Ann, we can avoid that,
yeah.
and we can break the back of this
Mm-hmm,
generational curse that exists in some communities. We can break the back of generational lack by putting your personal Sisternomics strategy in place. And a piece of that is making sure that you are adequately insured so
mm-hmm.
that your final expenses can be taken care of. Your family can focus on grieving, or whatever
Yes.
their process is, and not have to worry
Mm-hmm,
about how we going to take care of this stuff, how
mm-hmm.
we going to pay tuition. You see what I'm saying. You
Oh,
get where I'm
yeah.
going with this. And it's just a pleasure to be able to have this platform so that we can bring amazing people like Shirley Ann on to answer questions and to shed light and to give insight and to dispel myths about things that are as important as insurance. So as we close, tell
Yeah.
us how we can connect with you.
Well, thanks again for allowing me to be here, Monique. And we're in the world of virtual, so yes, jump online, Google me, Shirley Ann Robertson. You can find me quite easily that way. Or for those who are old school, you can call me also, 847-301-7400, 847-301-7400. Or as I said, just go ahead and Google me. You can find all of my connections that way. Look forward to talking with you. And thanks again, Shiro, for allowing me to be on your first of many
Yes.
platforms here.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Shirley Ann Robertson. Thank you all for listening and watching. And of course, as always, join me on the audio side. Sisternomics is available for you on every single platform, wherever you get your podcast. And it's our hope that each and every one of you, that you know that you are amazing, that you recognize that you are a gold mine, that you recognize that you're worthy of living in the overflow, and that you, my sister, that you recognize that you deserve to create a legacy of wealth, so that even though you may not ever meet your great grandchildren, they will still feel the impact of the commitment and the decisions that you make toward building that wealth foundation today. All right. That's it for me, y'all. Thank you for watching. Join me again next time for episode 2 in our series of Sisternomics Live. Hey, see you next time.